It's Fat Albert, and some viewers may find this disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised. That was not a joke. If you are squeamish, have a fear of pus or blood, or just have trouble forgetting disturbing things, you might just want to scroll down and click to a new tab. Some of the imagery in this episode is unsettling. Whenever I think of a horrid episode of any show, this is what immediately comes to mind. It's what lets me know that things could always get worse, and to count every single blessing we have. The plot of this episode is simple. SpongeBob gets a splinter and has to spend about 11 minutes trying to get it out. If that makes it sound boring, let me tell you, this episode is anything but. In some episodes, SpongeBob, the title card, gets fitting background music, like in Spongy where we get a Roman-themed sound. I love how here it plays the same classic tune, like it's saying it's just another typical episode. As soon as the episode starts, we get our first sign that this was an incredibly terrible idea. It starts out with some incredibly mundane filler until SpongeBob manages to fling his spatula into the ceiling. He stacks a bunch of boxes to get up and begins attempting to pull it out. And these boxes were swords and tartar sauce. As soon as SpongeBob pulls it out, he begins falling to the ground. Yeah, I wish it turns out he gets saved by dumb luck. And by dumb luck, he trips on the tartar sauce and gets the titular Splinter jammed into his finger in slow motion. We can see that it goes in pretty damn deep. But then SpongeBob starts trying to pull it out, and we see him cringe as he does. We see how the pain feels. The writers and animators are determined to make it seem as painful as possible. I don't know if this is a half-assed attempt at slapstick or just an attempt to make the audience cringe. If it was just the former, you've got to make the pain cartoonish and over the top. Like, say, have a piano fall on somebody's head. That's funny because it can't really happen to us. Most of us had splinters, and some of us had splinters we couldn't get out. So yeah, we can feel his pain. So eventually, SpongeBob tries to pull it out with his teeth and ends up ripping his skull out. And that convinces him to leave the splinter in. With the splinter, SpongeBob ties his spatula to his nose, and that ends up annoying Squidward. Some cliches never do die. And then Squidward sees the splinter and SpongeBob shows it to him. And some of the pus drops on his face. Are you grossed out yet? It's at this point I begin to wonder if I was blowing this episode's vile repulsion when I called it a shitty abomination of hell. Sure, we have a ton of nothing out of the ordinary for your typical modern SpongeBob episode, and then SpongeBob calls Dr. Patrick. So enter Dr. SpongeBob's Patrick, chewing on SpongeBob's foot in grotesque detail. Okay, writers, nobody wants to see your sick and uninteresting foot fetish. When SpongeBob tries to tell Patrick, he gets upset. So, to calm him down, SpongeBob decides to do whatever Dr. Patrick says without objection. This is your last chance if you have any aversion to Grossout, if you want to turn back now. He sees the Splinter and reaches into his medical bag and pulls out a hammer. You know it's coming, rallies it up, and he smashes the finger into the thumb, causing it to swell up and a horrid size. And when Dr. Dipshit sees the swelling, he puts it in a garbage to compress it, causing it to spew forth pus and turn a sickeningly purple color. Oh, but it gets worse. SpongeBob goes back into find Mr. Krabs to Squidward, and SpongeBob is determined to hide the Splinter. They're building up to this quite a lot, and when it's finally revealed, a huge red abomination with pus and a pulsating red vein that, no joke, caused me to vomit the first time I saw it. And then we get a close-up of the Splinter itself. Mr. Krabs pulls it out, and surprise, confetti, haha, no, pus starts spraying out on Mr. Krabs. And oh, by the way, it wouldn't be a modern SpongeBob episode without at least some Squidward torture porn. Mr. Krabs talks about workman's comp, so Squidward smashes his hand with a cash register, only to find out his shift has ended 2 minutes ago. To call this episode an utter piece of shit would be an insult to shit. Pardon the cliche, without the disgusting visual gimmicks, this episode has nothing to stand on. It wants to gross you out, and if it doesn't, it will only end up boring you. There is no reason for this episode to exist besides nausea fuel. It's an excuse to be grotesque, and a flimsy excuse at that. I don't know who would be vile enough, repulsive enough, disgusting enough to think that this would be a good idea, and then actually make this a goddamn episode. Who wrote this? Three writers? 3 writers? This episode had 3 writers. How was it possible that 3 professional writers came forth with this crap when a 5-year-old would know better to throw it in the trash? These 3 do not deserve to have jobs. They deserve to be fired and blacklisted. There's putting no effort into something, and then there's putting 0 effort into something as it has utterly horrible as possible. Believe me when I say that I know how bad things can get. To answer your question, no, putting your hoof down is not worse than the Splinter. Putting your hoof down is a concept that could actually work if it had some form of reality. Fuck no. Fuck no. It's probably just the first one I think of when I think bad episode. It probably wouldn't even be in the top 10. Well, there's that one episode where Mrs. Puff tries to murder SpongeBob. Or there is that one episode where Mr. Krabs drives Plankton to attempted suicide and gets rewarded for it. There is also that one episode that makes Squidward look like he's about to kill himself as a running joke. Or if you want to include specials, there's that giant middle finger to anyone who ever gave a damn about SpongeBob. Trust me when I say that I have seen shit. Trust me when I say that I have seen shit.